so be careful. Check your sleepy time tea, everybody. But yeah, to
make your own tea.
Make your own tea. Hey guys, Victoria here, and welcome to The Geeky Sandbox. All right, so today we're going to be doing a non-spoiler review over the movie A Haunting in Venice, and I have the best person here, Monica. Hi guys.
She's back.
All right, so this is going to be a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, please feel free to skip this video. But if you don't mind spoilers, please stick around. A Haunting in Venice, as I mentioned, if you guys have seen my initial geeky thoughts, is based on a short story by Agatha Christie. And this movie is a mystery horror. From the trailers, it does kind of play itself more up as like a horror than a mystery. To the point where if you haven't seen any of the other films or even know what this movie may be about, it'll just seem like this is absolute horror. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
If you've seen the first two films, our main character, Hercule Poirot, has decided to retire in Venice. Gone through enough with the events of the first two films. Hired a bodyguard. People are at his door trying to get him to solve their mysteries, and he's trying to enjoy life, but he's pretty bored.
Pretty much. The trope of person good at their job retires, but then retirement just bores in the death, so they get pulled back in and sometimes jump. They don't jump at the first chance to do something, but they jump at the best chance.
We see his day-to-day life for a little bit, then we see Tina Fey, an old friend of his, come back into his life and bring this little mystery to his door.
Yeah, and that's what gets him back in, and we have this whole Haunting in Venice. Tina Fey. Is she related to Bobby Flay?
Yes.
We'll call her Miss Olivie for this, for the purpose of this review. So she brings this case to him where a mother named Rowena Drake, her daughter's passed on, which is like very well known where they are. And there's a psychic or medium who's played by Michelle Yeoh, who's going to be there. And Tina Fey's character, Miss Olivie, she's a writer, and she really wants to get them in there to kind of like look at and meet this character that Michelle Yeoh is playing, this medium. Of course, things go sideways when people start dying. That's kind of when Poirot's
detective instincts kick in.
Yeah, his detective instincts kick in, and not in the way that you might think, because he's looking for an actual murder, but half the people in the house are convinced that it's a ghost. He's trying to shake that thought because he's a man of like logic and like very like all things practical. So he's like, no, there's an answer for everything. It's not ghosts. You're hallucinating. You're tired. Like all those things kind of get thrown out there when you have other characters who believe they're seeing things, like Jamie Dornan's character, Ferrier. Yeah, you have him, and then you have Rowena Drake's late daughter's ex, kind of in the picture, and you have a bunch of other like side characters that kind of fit your red herrings, right? Like your maid and the two assistants of Michelle Yeoh's character and things like that.
I think everyone did a really good job. Everyone knew their character. I'm not sure if everyone read the source material or if they did the thing like, oh, the character on script is my character, so I'm just going to use this.
Oh, good point, yeah.
But I feel like everyone knew their character's motivations and whether they were the killer or not, or they had certain moments they're like, oh, yes, my character is in love with so-and-so. My character was in love with so-and-so. Like, my character is, a devout former nun.
Oh, yeah, that was a whole thing.
It was a whole thing. I think they all knew why their characters seemed guilty.
Yeah, I think especially them knowing those motivations really helped lend itself to the whole red herring aspect that you really do have to play on when you are doing mysteries and thrillers and stuff like that. The performances in this movie were tighter than the ones on Death on the Nile.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because, like we said, I think in the last review, I was like, that's like the movie of rejects, just in the news for not great things. We're all in that movie. Doesn't mean that they weren't good performers, but
except
except for Emma Mackey. Yes. Let's clear the record, and she was doing them a favor.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't remember who else was in that movie, but Emma Mackey.
Yeah, Emma Mackey. Russell Brand was in that movie. There wasn't really a moment where I feel like her who has had like a longer career in acting overshadowed anybody, because Tina Fey, we know Tina Fey is funny, she's a great writer, and she has some layers there. I don't feel like she overshadowed anybody. She just was the character she was supposed to be. Or even like Michelle Yeoh in some cases.
Kelly Riley's been around for a while, but at this point in her life, I feel like she's getting more attention for her career.
Would you say you had a favorite character?
I think my favorite character is switched up depending on who was on screen.
The more I thought about it, I was like, I don't think I had a favorite character. I think I just liked everyone equally.
Can I change my mind on the favorite character?
Yeah.
I think my favorite character was the Palazzo.
Oh. Why so?
The haunted Palazzo in Venice, where all these tragic things happen. Not only do you get like the background as to why everyone thinks this place is haunted, but you get to see it from the basement all the way to the roof.
That's actually a really good point. There were a few moments where I was like, well, this was kind of a throwaway. Michelle Yeoh's character, Mrs. Reynolds, she had 2 assistants, and they were suspects throughout the entire movie until they're just kind of basically cleared. Everyone kind of locks in on who they think it might be, and then you kind of isolate them. In this case, another character gets killed while they're still locked in the room, and they locked that guy in a room. So it's kind of like, well, how did they get killed? So then the whole supernatural conversation gets brought up. But I think they were kind of throwaway characters, which I know everyone can't be special or have like a lot of screen time, I thought the plot was fine. I don't think it was groundbreaking. I did enjoy it. Of course, I have to talk about the guy next to me that fell asleep.
Oh, gosh,
yeah, because it's one thing when you are not in the right seat, but it's another thing when you fall asleep. And he wasn't like quietly sleeping, he was snoring. So that's when I was like, I'm disturbed. Like my movie experience is being interrupted by your sleeping. I mean, maybe I should have asked him, did you like the movie? Or maybe he would have thought I was like jabbing him. But I would be curious to know if he was just tired, or did he find the movie boring? Because I do feel like with your murder mysteries, they are slow burn. They can be really long.
Yeah.
And that's why some people just don't care for them. If you are the moviegoer that wants people to get to the point with their stories, and you don't really want all the like bells and whistles in between, you just want like something brief and then maybe like 1 red herring instead of like 5, then this might not be the movie for you. But I thought the way that they paced everything out was nice. It was well done. I didn't feel bored at any point. Did you feel like the movie was good, Lynn?
I do. I feel like the pacing was fine. I've sat through some mysteries where I'm just like, oh, this is good, but I really need to go. I'm gonna like get a refill on my popcorn. I'm gonna use the restroom. This was not one of those. It was like short enough where I could sit through, I could watch it, I could enjoy it. But if you're someone who doesn't enjoy mysteries, or is having a long day, or needs to take a nap, I would not waste my money.
Do you think there were some things that kept coming back in the story that you were like, why is this a thing?
Well, they drew so much attention on it, and it was like such a small thing. Tina Fey's character makes Mr. Pro some tea, and she says, I used the honey that you had in the linen closet.
Oh, yeah, because she couldn't find it, right? And that's where she found that.
Yeah, and I was like, that is a weird place. That is coming back up.
The murderer was Kelly Riley's character. Marina Drake killed her own daughter accidentally, and then like threw her over the balconies to look like it was a suicide.
Can we say she was the one who killed her? She was drugging her.
She still died as a fault of her actions. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still her fault, right?
Well, the nun, the former nun, the housekeeper, is the one who gave her the lethal dose. It wasn't that, because she wasn't keeping her sick for, like, the traditional reasons. She was keeping her sick in order to keep her from getting married and leaving her. Having her hallucinate once her fiancé broke up with her. Because
he didn't have access to her at all, also, was that other thing.
Yeah, he kept writing her, trying to, explain himself. Whatever was in the letters, her mother kept. And, yeah, she just kept drugging her and decided, I'm going to let somebody else watch you for a night. And then the lethal dose was administered by somebody else. But, yeah, she's definitely the one who caused it.
So be careful. Check your sleepy time tea, everybody. But yeah, to
Make your own tea.
Make your own tea.
She suspects someone is the blackmailer, and spoiler, not it. That well, she's giving them the money. Not a lot of money's going into the palazzo. She has to sell and is trying to sell, but no one wants it because it's haunted. Which she kind of did on herself.
Yeah, she did. Imagine trying to clean up your own mess.
You're like, oh man.
You're slipping in your own mess.
Yeah, so she uses the Halloween party and just get rid of some people and make do. And yeah, it's sad that she gets the wrong person.
And she even at one point tries to kill Poirot, like, because she thinks that he is Mrs. Reynolds, because she's trying to like make sure that what she's done doesn't get out. And I like the way that they kind of set all that up, because you're still not sure maybe at that first point who the killer is, because it's right at the beginning, and the balls to like try to like drown the detective in like when he's bobbing for apples, which I think it might be my favorite part, because he's like, I guess I'll have some fun. And I'm like, that'll teach you to have fun. Don't do it.
I feel like you get a good amount of information.
I do. Yeah, I agree. You get, like you said, that you find out where the money went, why she may have done it, or even just other things of what her connections may be to these other characters that come in, right? Down to like the doctor, and like why she was even why she even invited people like Tina Fey's character and stuff like that. So I thought that was all neat. I liked it.
And even the suspicion leading back to Tina Fey's character.
Oh yeah.
With her being a writer and having based her previous books on Hercule Poirot, her making her name off him, and him becoming a famous detective, which isn't necessarily what he wanted. And her trying to do the same with Mrs. Reynolds, who's kind of in on it. Her just trying to get back on the bestseller list.
I thought the moment where she was confronted with that was good, just because it's like, one may feel like you're getting a confession where it's like, okay, she did everything. But then you're like, oh no, that doesn't really track. Yeah.
Like, it's a confession.
Yeah.
Everyone's guilty of something, but what are they guilty of?
Is there something that you would have hoped for, or that you would have liked to have seen that you didn't? Or do you feel like this movie was good as is?
I think it was good as is. I think, maybe diving into a little bit more character stuff here or there would have been nice, but it was ultimately unnecessary. And again, it's a mystery, so it could really drag if you go down that route. Route? Yeah. Trying to figure out which one I like. You got a background on the location. You got a beautiful setting. You got Halloween. You've got great characters. I think it did pretty well with what it had.
I agree. I don't know if I would necessarily add anything, because I think it would just slow down the movie. I would have liked Mrs. Reynolds' assistants to not be throwaways. I don't know how they would have been more involved. Maybe they could have combined those two and it would have been one person. I don't know how, because they kind of, to me, their personality traits were so dull.
I understand why they didn't, because that is something that they did with Death on the Nile, where they combined characters or changed them up enough. It just didn't play out that well.
Yeah, maybe not wanting to make that same mistake is why they did it. As an audience member, even if you do feel like you know who it is, you kind of like, well, they're kind of weird. Are they in on it somehow as well? But I think I probably would have, I'll just say it, I prefer if they would have been cut. Controversial thought. Because Miss Reynolds is already gone at that point, and they're just kind of there. Yeah. And then they end up being red herrings anyway, and you already have like 5 others. I feel like it's just more characters getting swallowed up in an hour-and-a-half movie. I would recommend that you guys watch this movie. I enjoyed it. I know when Mimi, who's been on the channel before, a friend of the channel, she was saying like, oh, do I need to watch the first 2? Because, a friend of hers told her that she should watch it. And honestly, with where our detective starts in his whole retirement journey, you kind of don't even need to have seen the first 2. It's nice. So that way you can get an idea of why he is the way he is.
Yeah, why he's in that headspace.
Yeah, exactly. How far he may or may not go, how smart he is, and all that stuff. But I do feel like if you want to just jump right in, I do think you can just watch this movie. I really enjoyed this one, not only because I like Halloween, but the setting was really nice. And I would watch it again. I definitely think I am going to watch it again because Steven hasn't seen it yet.
Ooh. I will say I recommended this movie to someone who doesn't like scary movies but wanted something in the spirit of October.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely recommend for someone who wants something a little creepy but doesn't like scary, mystery, Halloween, old-timey, different country. Beautiful movie aesthetically. Mm-hmm. Again, setting amazing.
So I guess I'll just piggyback off of that. This movie is not scary, despite the trailer the way they advertise it.
Oh, yeah. The initial trailer kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, this is a little... Yeah. The opposite direction that I thought this would go.
Yeah.
I thought it would play more into the mystery. Mm-hmm. But now that I think about it, like aesthetically, the trailer fit the movie, especially compared to the stark white that was the Orient Express.
Oh, yeah.
And the bright sun of the Nile. The Haunting in Venice had like the darker, rainy fall tones that you would expect. And I feel like, again, great choice if you're going to give like a color palette to each movie.
Yeah, that's actually well said. I feel like it's very tame regarding like horror, and that's not bad because that's what this movie needed. But like I think most of the movie leans more into the mystery thriller-esque. So what do we rate this movie? You know what? I'll let you go first.
I think I'm going to go ahead and give it 4.5 out of 5 geeks. Great for the genre that it is, which I adore. You had just enough that you would question it, but again, it's based on a book that's been around for 1960 something, about 50s.
Yeah, 69.
Yeah, it's been around for 54 years, so I think it did as well keeping you questioning things as a story of this age could. Mm-hmm. Without completely ignoring the fact that it's an adaptation, you know?
Yeah.
It did a good job.
Yeah. Whenever I first went back to review it on Letterboxd, I gave it a 3.5. Catalina gave it a 3.5. What's happening here? I gave it a 3.5 because I thought it was above average. Was this my favorite mystery movie of the year? And I was like, no, I don't think it was my favorite. But that doesn't mean I didn't like it. I did enjoy it.
I think that averages up to 4 between you and me.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be like a 4. 4 out of 5 geeks. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Again, this is Monica here. Monica, do you have anything to suggest that you've been watching or plug? Ooh. I've been playing the Miles Morales Spider-Man game, which has been fun. The story is really good. I really like the voice actor that plays Miles. So if you do happen to play video games and whether you have a PS5 or not, and you just want to like go and enjoy that story, I highly recommend it.
I guess in the spirit of the season, I'll recommend The Love Witch. Ooh. Time period ambiguous. There are a couple things that you're like, oh, when does this take place? This looks like the 60s, 70s, and it was filmed in 2016. Why are they pulling out a cell phone? When did this take place? But very campy, very cheesy. I believe I saw it on Pluto. It's on Tubi as well.
Oh, okay.
So, free. It's free, y'all.
It's free, y'all. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We always have a ton of people that come by and watch the videos and aren't subscribed. Consider subscribing and helping the channel reach our goal of 600 subscribers. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.